Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we're going to be going over the tropics, and we're also going to still be talking about Helene, which is likely going to turn into a tropical storm sometime today. The good news is that it hasn't turned into a tropical storm just yet, even though we were expecting it to become a tropical storm just a few hours ago during the overnight hours, but it hasn't became one yet. And that's the reason why we do expect it to rapidly intensify and eventually become one this afternoon. So we'll definitely be talking a lot about that, and we'll also be going over the impacts that we can also expect from Helene, which are pretty extreme, by the way. So I hope you guys in the Panhandle and even throughout the rest of Florida are prepared for this. Same goes for the Carolinas, parts of Georgia, even Alabama. You guys should also be prepared just in case as well. But let's first go ahead and talk about the overall tropics. And as you guys can see, we do have a system over here by Africa that we're also watching for too as well, which we aren't really concerned about as of right now, especially because most of the models show it curving out to see like this. So that definitely doesn't bring a major concern for any impacts near the Caribbean or even the United States. Still can move a little bit towards the Caribbean and maybe bring a little bit of impacts there, but other than that, not really looking like a huge concern. It was a little bit more concerning last week, especially because malls were being pretty aggressive, which they usually are, especially when you go as far out as they can. But like I said, it's not really looking concerning anymore. But we are mainly concerned about this one over here. Like I said, hasn't became a tropical storm yet, but we do expect it to become one this afternoon, especially because it didn't become a tropical storm during the overnight hours last night. So we'll keep an eye on it. But as of right now, just a regular tropical cyclone 9, so we'll continue to watch it from there. Let's now go ahead and take a look at those sea surface temperatures, and as you guys can see, for the sea surface temperatures, we do have a lot of areas that are already seeing almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit. 31 degrees Celsius is equal to almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really, really above average for this time of year. This is usually when we would start to see those waters cool down a little bit, but they just keep getting warmer. As like I said, we already got a lot of 31 degrees Celsius in a lot of areas, and same where the system is expected to go. And this is pretty much where we have those hottest sea surface temperatures is right here, as we even see a couple of 32 degree water temperatures starting to pop up as well, which is pretty crazy, especially if you think about it. And this will likely move in between Cuba and Mexico, and then it will continue up to the north and likely continue to intensify, as we do have some really, really warm waters near Florida as well. So like I said, we will definitely continue to keep an eye on it, as conditions will be extremely favorable for rapid intensification. So like I said, I hope you guys around Florida, parts of Georgia, into the Carolinas, and even Alabama, you guys in those areas need to be extremely prepared for this system. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the cone of uncertainty, and as you guys can see, the latest from the National Hurricane Center has already issued tropical storm warnings for parts of Cuba and even parts of Mexico right there. As you guys can see, pretty much where this blue color showing up is where we have tropical storm warnings currently in effect, and this actually shows it turning into a hurricane as soon as it goes in between Cuba and Mexico right there, as you guys can see. And then as it continues, it will start to turn to the east a little bit, and look at that, still a major hurricane by the time it gets close to the Florida coast. And then something that's interesting is that up here kind of changes changed quite a bit. It showed it going more towards the Mississippi River, but now they're showing more of a northwest track instead of turning to the east. We will talk about that as we do look at the models, which will show the track of the system. But as of right now, we are mainly just focusing on the system rapidly intensifying into a major hurricane, and continuing to go northwest, or northeast rather, towards parts of the Big Bend of Florida. So we will definitely continue to keep an eye on that. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the potential tracks now. And like I said, the cone of uncertainty does show the system going straight up to the north, but then will likely turn out to the west somewhat as it does reach the lower Ohio Valley. So we do need to be keeping an eye on this, as like I said, a lot of the models are showing it making that west turn towards the Ohio Valley. I don't blame the National Hurricane Center for showing it going straight up to the north. I still do think that's possible, as some of the models do show it tracking right towards southeast Indiana and possibly continuing up to the north from there. But I still do think this could very well make a turn towards the lower Ohio Valley and continue westward towards the Mississippi River. And some of them even show it, going towards back to the mid-Atlantic. But I really do think this will make that west turn due to that trough that's dipping down. So let's, keep an eye on that, as it does appear possible. Let's now go ahead and look at another potential track. And as you guys can see, this does want to show, a lot of possibilities on where this could go. But, like I said, this does, appear to make that western turn as it does get up here towards the Ohio Valley. And this one actually shows it turning around a little bit earlier instead of going right towards the Mississippi River. However, this one does still show an extremely strong hurricane. Some of these, noodle looking things are showing some pink color right there that you see. That indicates 950 millibars, which indicates a category 3 hurricane at least. So that's the reason why we are really concerned about Helene making some major impacts to some of these areas. It still remains uncertain on what we'll see up here, but I mean, it's just really crazy if you think about it. So we'll continue to keep an eye on it. And same with this one. This one does also show a western turn too as well, and I'm pretty sure more of these are actually showing more of a category 4 hurricane. But this will continue to head to the north, like what the cone of uncertainty showed, and could very well make that western turn. But this one actually does show it starting to turn around though, which is pretty crazy again if you think about it. So we will definitely also watch this as well. I think I agree a little bit more on this because model showed it going right over to the lower Ohio Valley and then turning around. That's what a lot of those models did show. So that's something we will need to be keeping an eye on. But like I said, I definitely wouldn't rule out it going towards the East Coast either. So it really just depends on what really happens. But my opinion is that this will really make that western turn and turn around as it gets close to the Mississippi River. Now let's go ahead and look at intensity model guidance. Okay, this is a pretty big change compared to what we saw the last few days. When we looked at this yesterday, some of them were pointing out category 5 hurricane strength, but now it's just mainly category 3 is what most of the models are pointing out. And same with category 4, we got another one pointing out category 4, which I'm pretty sure is the NNIC model, which is the only one that is pointing out a category 4 hurricane. So we do also need to really be keeping an eye on, the potential for category 4 hurricane 2 as well, as that still is not rolled out. But I'm kind of going down back to category 3 just because that's where we have the most agreement as of right now. But you guys should still be prepared for potentially the worst, which the worst case as of right now is still maybe the potential for a Category 5 hurricane, but like I said, it's kind of going down back to a Category 3, Category 4 hurricane now, which is good news, but still extremely bad news. Let's now go ahead and take a look at how much rainfall we can expect during the next 5 days, and as you guys can see, we do expect there to be some really high rainfall totals, anywhere from 8 to 12 inches across parts of the Big Bend of Florida, even some isolated areas of anywhere from 12 to 16 inches might be possible. It just depends on how strong this hurricane really gets before it reaches the Florida, panhandle, and as well as the Big Bend of Florida, which I know none of that is really showing on the map, but like I said, I definitely wouldn't rule out some areas between 12 to 16 inches of rainfall, as this could really be a huge major hurricane. And then as it continues up to the north, brings some widespread totals between 4 to 6 inches across parts of Alabama, including Birmingham and Montgomery, back into Atlanta, all the way over there towards Augusta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina, Roanoke, Virginia, into Knoxville, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, and maybe even as far north as southern Kentucky, likely to see anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. But look at how widespread these green colors are. Okay, this is really good rainfall. Okay, this isn't too much, this isn't too little, especially for those areas that are in a drought. We're talking anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rainfall across parts of the lower Ohio Valley, back into the Midwest, even parts of the deep south, and even heading towards the upper part of the Appalachian Mountains. So we are also keeping an eye on that too, as well as we could very well see some flash flooding in some areas. But like I said, this isn't too much, isn't too little, especially for those areas that are in a drought, like I said. So that's something to keep an eye on, even though it will be some really good rainfall. Let's now go ahead and take a look at how much storm surge we could see. This is your peak storm surge, and look how extreme that is, guys. This really concerns me a lot, but look at that. Anywhere from 10 to 15 feet of storm surge appears possible across parts of the Big Bend of Florida, guys. I could never remember seeing this much of storm surge, which has never occurred this year. We only seen storm surge anywhere from 5 to 10 feet at the max. Okay, so this is just really crazy to think about, as it will likely impact those areas in the Big Bend of Florida, and we could even see as much as 15 feet, guys. 12 plus of storm surge is just it just seems historic. So that's something to really be aware about if you do live here in the Big Bend of Florida, as over 10 feet of storm surge is definitely a possibility. So make sure to be prepared if you do live in the Big Bend of Florida. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the greatest flash flood potential for the next 5 days. And as you guys can see, we do have a couple areas we're watching for, especially in this red color that you see right here, which is a moderate risk for flash flooding across parts of the panhandle of Florida into parts of southern and central Georgia, including the Atlanta area, back into parts of northwest South Carolina. So those areas will definitely be the area to keep an eye on the closest. But look how widespread this slight risk is. Okay, these areas that are expecting anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, and I did point that out just a few minutes ago, but places like Montgomery, Birmingham, Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, back into Charlotte, Augusta, and even into Roanoke, Virginia, will definitely be the areas to keep an eye on, as anywhere from 4 to 6 inches will be possible in some of those areas. And I would not be surprised if this slight risk did extend as far north as the Ohio Valley, as this could very well make that western turn, like I said, and that's only if confidence grows about that happening. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy today's weather forecast. If you guys will continue to grow my YouTube channel, that would be great, and I'm really glad you guys got me up to 500 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for doing that. I really do appreciate that, and I hope you guys will continue to subscribe to my YouTube YouTube channel and get me up there towards 1,000 sometime next year, which is my next thing to do. So make sure to like and subscribe down below. Don't forget to comment too as well, and also leave any likes down below too as well if you guys want to do that, and it helps out more than you know.